Hey Kentucky, this is Mary Jo Perino. Tonight, lawyers for the family of Brianna Taylor say a gentrification plan led to her killing. Protesters say LMPD continues to target live streamers, and UK lineman Marquand McCall wants to get paid. All that and more is next on Hey Kentucky. Welcome to Hey Kentucky, along with LEX 18 Sports Director Keith Farmer. Keith, I hope you had a happy 4th of July weekend.
Got some friends and family together, and also the dog got groomed finally after about 3 months. So all's well now in the Farmer household.
Yes.
Hope yours is well too.
we had a wonderful one. All right, let's get to the topics today. According to attorneys representing the family of Brianna Taylor, her shooting death was the result of a Louisville Police Department operation to clear out a block in West Louisville that was part of a major gentrification makeover. Allegations in court documents filed Sunday say that a police squad named Place-Based Investigations deliberately misled LMPD narcotics detectives, leading them to believe they were after violent crime and drug rings. The complaint says that the warrant that led to Taylor's death was more about speeding up the city's multi-million-dollar Vision Russell development plan than busting a drug house. In a statement issued to the Courier-Journal, Jean Porter, a spokeswoman for Mayor Greg Fisher, said the allegations are, quote, outrageous and without foundation or supporting fact, end quote. The statement went on to say the mayor is absolutely committed to that work, as evidenced by the city's work to support $1 billion in capital projects there over the past few years. And Keith, I don't know if that has anything to do with why officers were there that night. What I do know is if the LMPD had some more transparency, maybe these wouldn't be issues, because her whole report of that night is basically redacted.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know if this is true, but if this is true and if they get their day in court and are able to prove this, there's going to be a lot more people that are going to lose their jobs over this that could go way up the food chain. And disappointing to hear that this could be the possibility. But as you said, transparency would have been the best thing for them.
Right from the get-go. All right, as protests over the death of Brianna Taylor have continued now for more than a month, protesters that have been live streaming the events say they are being targeted by LMPD. Several people that have been consistently broadcasting the protests on social media say last week police officers made it a point of emphasis to crack down on them. Among those arrested is Mackenzie Craps, who is facing 2 felony charges of first-degree wanton endangerment of a police officer and third-degree assault of a social services worker after being taken out of her car and arrested Wednesday morning. Here's a clip from that live stream.
They were hit right next to us. They have full guns drawn a second ago, pointing the guns at the driver. You can still see they have guns right now. We were going to pull away, but then we saw that they were of color. He's got an arrest. Let me see. Hey, what's your name? What's your name? Say it again.
Back up.
What the head? Oh yeah, look here. You keep recording.
Don't play games. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Put your hands behind your back.
Stop.
You assaulted me.
You're assaulting me. What?
Speak back out of the car.
Her live stream continued for 30 minutes after she was arrested. Maxwell Mitchell, another protest live streamer, said that people using their cell phones to broadcast from Jefferson Square Park are literally being tackled and targeted. Keith, we kind of talked about this last week. This video and other videos are the reasons why George Floyd wouldn't have been, we wouldn't have seen it without people live streaming or filming it.
Yeah, and the thing to me is, I don't understand how you constitute who is protesting, because that's their issue. If you're in the park and protesting, that's why you have to get out. So I don't know what these people that are live streaming, if they're just standing there with their phones, are they allowed to stay? That's what I'm a little confused on. But you're right. I think these type of situations are needed. We need to see, because it does give us a little transparency.
Yeah, and this one, from that video, it looks like this girl was not really out in the mix of things at all. So who knows? All right. Health departments across the country are starved for resources among the pandemic, and Kentucky's no different. A report from the AP shows that from 2010 to 2018, the state's non-hospital public health expenses per resident dropped 32%. Only South Carolina and Nevada had bigger decreases in spending. The report shows Kentucky's spending per resident is still much greater than some other states. We spend $103 a year compared to border states Ohio, Indiana, and Tennessee, who all spent less than $45 per resident. But now with the pandemic, local health workers who often make so little they qualify for public assistance themselves are going to work 7 days a week for long hours without necessary PPE to protect themselves. And Keith, we talked about this long before the pandemic started, that there were going to be health departments in Kentucky shut down because they just didn't have the funding.
Yeah, and this article was kind of scary. They were talking about districts running off 3G cell service and using paper, instead of computers. And there were people that were going out doing contact tracing that aren't even really, set for that. But it's because there's so few, and it's what they have to do. And just disappointing to hear that this is taking place across this state. Yeah,
and the pandemic has shown us several things. This is one of them, that we need those local health departments. Coaches in the Bluegrass are glad to be back on the field, but sports medicine doctors have some concerns beyond COVID-19 after the extended dead periods. The worry is that after the long period off, that athletes will come back out of shape. Dr. Mike Miller of St. Elizabeth Sports Medicine said they're worried about a lot of athletes being deconditioned, out of shape, and that would mean a lot higher risk of overuse injuries. To complicate this, kids are coming back to sports conditioning in the heat of the summer. High heat, humidity, athletes' bodies will take time to acclimate to that after spending more time than normal indoors. Miller says it's important for coaches to take their time and gradually get more intense workouts after kids get used to it. And I can't speak for everybody, Keith, but I think the heat and humidity and the not being as conditioned as they should be, I think coaches are used to dealing with that kind of stuff. They have more, COVID's totally different, but they know, I hope, how to protect kids from the heat and humidity at this point.
Yeah, they've been dealing with this one for a long time, and now they're right. I mean, yeah, they've been maybe out of a little bit if they haven't been doing any conditioning. Then it might be a little tough on them. At the same time, I think that these kids are younger. I'm obviously not a doctor, but I think that they're quicker than maybe we are to bounce back from such a long layoff.
From a lot of things. Kids are pretty resilient. All right. Kentucky junior nose guard Marquand McCall is speaking up about playing football during the pandemic. His message, y'all want us to play? Pay us. That's what he tweeted out on Friday. Many student athletes have been pushing to be able to make money off their name, image, and likeness, and several states have signed off on legislation allowing them to do so. The NCAA is asking Congress to make a change at the federal level to address the issue. McCall doubled down on his tweet, replying to some critics, y'all acting like we asking for $70K, with 2 laughing emojis. Keith, I think that athletes in this day and age, in this era, have learned that they can use their voice. And I just think that's what Marquand McCall is doing.
I will say that at first, when I was hearing about athletes getting paid, I was really worried about it, and I was probably on the other side of it. And then once I heard about the name, image, and likeness, I kind of get behind it a little bit more. And this is a guy right here, Marquand McCall, if you've been around him. He could benefit off some of that, some of his image and likeness, because he is a very likable character. And so I don't think it's asking too much to help out athletes in that situation and not let the NCAA take advantage of them.
Correct. All right, I'm with you. Now in Hey Kentucky, in case you missed it, a review of recent headlines. A man has been charged with menacing and had his rifle confiscated after he allegedly pointed it at a protester in Lexington on Saturday. Student-led group is calling for the University of Kentucky to limit its spending on the police force, cut back patrols, and ban the use of rubber bullets, tear gas, or military-style equipment. The group is also pushing for a community oversight committee of students, faculty, and community leaders that would review on-campus police actions. And last good news about Kentucky House Majority Floor Leader John Bam Carney, who had been hospitalized for 6 months from a severe battle with pancreatitis. His brother said in a Facebook post that he continues to make slow and steady improvements. Up next on Hey Kentucky, I talk with Rachel Smith of the Refuge Clinic to talk about their mission to provide health care to those in need. Stay with us.